just go with the flow of the baby, and we tend to photograph the baby the way the baby moves, and the way the baby wants to be on his side, or we don't impose anything on the baby, and hardly use any props at all, just some backdrops, really neutrals. And that's my style. But it's like tuning in on what's really important, the details of the hairs on the ear, the noses, the milk bubbles on the lips, and how the woman and how the man look upon their child. That's the most amazing connection for me to capture.
Introducing the next photographer. Her name is Yvonne van Dalen. She's a photographer from all the way around the world, from Netherlands, which is right next to Amsterdam, which I didn't know, in case you was wondering where Netherlands is. But she's an amazing photographer. But now she is full-time coach, instructor for photography. She teaches you photography, and she teaches you how to take your photography business to the next level, so you're working less, you're making more money, and you're able to spend more time with your family. So guys, introducing Yvonne van Dalen. Yvonne, nice to finally see you. Thank you so much for coming onto the Camera to Freedom show. And I definitely
Yeah,
want,
sure. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
just to kind of get to know you a little bit, where are you from? Are you from the Netherlands? Is that your
Yes.
home?
Yes, I'm born and raised in the Netherlands, in the European Union,
Mhm.
small country. I have lived in Vught now for nearly 7 years, and it's just wonderful region. It's really green. We have small cities, so not a big stuff going on, but it's a wonderful region. And although we have a small country, there are tons of photographers over here. So it's really good that you reached out, because I thought, wow, you want to talk to someone in the Netherlands. That's amazing.
I think it's great. I would love to talk to people from all over the world. And I was lucky enough that our last masterclass that we had, I talked to Brett Florin. He's a Nikon photographer from the Netherlands. And I was so intrigued because all my adult life as a photographer, I've only known the American, market of photography. Now I get to know how it is in Europe. And how is it over there? How's the photography business over there?
Well, we've got, as I said, an amazing crowd of photographers. I am a full-time photographer, although I just work 20 hours a week. But I know of a lot of men and women who want to pursue photography as their full-time career. And it can be tough because it's such a tiny country, so it can feel overcrowded. But I noticed that people who tend to do part-time jobs and only do photography over the weekends, to do like newborn sessions and family photography, they find it really difficult to make that leap into full-time photography. For me, especially when I switched from like a shoot and burn model to a model with IPS, I 10x'd my income. So I was able to work way less. Like I went from 80 plus hours a week, to now working 20 hours a week and making 100K a year in my photography alone. So it is possible to work as a photographer full time, but it can be difficult. And there's a mentality in the Netherlands where people say if you act normally, you're doing crazy enough. So we tend to be really down to earth. We aren't really raised with the concept of dreaming big and stepping up and, you know, founding your own business. But if you really want it, it's really possible. And it's growing in the Netherlands. That's why I think I was called to get into coaching 4 years ago, because people really need help. It's a lot with money mindset and how to set up your entire system basically. But it's great fun. We have amazing colleagues and a lot of talent in the Netherlands. So it's really nice to live here and to get to know more people, although it's now online.
Right. I could definitely see that. Like out here in the United States, where there's so many big events like WPPI, where thousands of people get together, and there's just so many community of photographers that's always like pushing you to get better and better. It must definitely be more difficult in a smaller place where you don't have access to that to self-motivate yourself to get to that level. So I noticed that. So I noticed that you do. So when you shoot photos, you do a lot of weddings and family. What do you shoot mostly?
Let me switch it up a bit. You can see up here some newborns. So I'm basically photographing everything from the pregnancy up until the toddler period. The 2 is no, the 3 is no, you know, that age. And everything in between. So we have the newborns and the pregnancy and just the growing families. I have a lot of return clients. Every time they get a new baby, they come back. So I see my families grow, and that's my main niche, to do everything, to capture everything around that new family, the new mom, the new dad, the baby. I love babies, so yeah, I love to capture those. And my second shooter, Laura, she does the weddings and everything on location. And yeah, it's a bit tough right now with the lockdown. We're in the 3rd lockdown here in the Netherlands,
Oh,
but we're
wow.
still able to work and do a lot of stuff like promotions and setting up, you know, actions, giveaways, stuff like that to fill up the calendar. So yeah, it's what I do and what I love to do. Um,
Oh.
Newborns, yeah.
Oh, that's so good. I mean, that's so funny because out here for me, I shoot everything and anything, but newborn is the only thing I don't shoot. Every time I get asked about them, I'm like, oh, I don't want to, because it's very specialized. You can't just show up with
Yeah,
a camera and just click away. You have to know how to work with a baby. And right, what are some of the
yeah.
things that you have to know how to do when shooting a infant?
Um, it's got a lot of, it's got to do a lot with psychology, how to treat the new parent, because it's all about working with their new child, their newborn child, which sometimes is just 7 days old. And especially for new parents with their firstborn, they are really anxious. Of course, everyone calls and says, we'd love to have amazing pictures, but it's the entire approach, the entire experience of leading them, guiding them through the workflow that you have on offer for them. So what I tend to notice is we have like um, oil diffusers in the studio. We play really nice, calming music. Everything is really nice, and we go with the flow. And it's all about learning how to handle a newborn baby. You know, in the beginning, I used to follow all the trends of the posing, like the froggy pose, and you know, everything, all the tips and tricks that you can do with a newborn. And a few years ago, I was so fed up with all the trends and all the props, and I did a big clean out of my stock room today. I just clean out, clean out, clean out, and I really toned it down to the basics. You know, the baby, the parents, sometimes the older brothers and sisters, but that's it. Just that connection, just capturing their love for each other, their newfound, you know, treasure. It's amazing to see new parents come in the studio. They are really insecure, so it's all for me a matter about of staying calm, guiding them, making them feel comfortable, and just be there for them. Have them ask anything. We also use a stand-in baby, like a newborn doll that we use to, you know, show the dads, show the moms how to hold the baby for a specific picture. So we all try to make it a step-by-step process for them so they really can enjoy it. And we try not to run it too long, because I know of sessions that go over 3-4 hours. And
Wow.
I knew when I had my first child, I was just exhausted. So I keep it short. We follow the baby. If the baby needs to drink, or you know, that accidents happen also.
Mm.
So we just go with the flow of the baby, and we tend to photograph the baby, the way the baby moves, and the way the baby wants to be on his side. Or you know, we don't impose anything on the baby and hardly use any props at all, just some backdrops, really neutrals. And that's my style. But it's like tuning in on what's really important, the details of the hairs on the ear, the noses, the you know, the milk bubbles on the lips, and how the woman and how the man look upon their child. That's the most amazing connection for me to capture. I started with my own child. That's the way this all came about for me anyway, because I was working with models and doing editorials, and where you have these entire days where you do um, 6 sets, and you have a session that is just thrown in the bin because the stylist used a handbag that was out of season. And it's just all the stuff that make me go, I think I really would like to drop all the stuff with the hairstylist and the makeup artist and just go for the real people, the connection, and just keep it simple. And yeah, when my son was born 9 years ago, I photographed him, and I cried my eyes out when I saw my own pictures. I thought, let me test this on my friends and on my family. So I captured anyone that I could find. And that's the moment that I decided to drop everything else with the models and go for the newborns. So yeah, my becoming a mother really made me a newborn photographer, which yeah,
Wow.
I still love.
That's amazing. I
Every
mean, because
single day.
I have to admit, when I see newborn photos and they do have that poses and things like that, I always thought to myself, oh man, how do you just force the baby to get into that position? But just like you said,
Yeah,
you just naturally let them get into their own position,
yeah,
making it very comfortable. I like that. I didn't know about that. I wanted to talk a
yeah.
little about your coaching though. Like, so now you do, are you like half shooting and then other half you coaching? Do you coach individually? Do you coach in a group? How is that kind of business going? How's that going?
I love that question. People think that I photograph all the time, but that's a really, really small part of my week because I tend to do one, maximum 2 sessions a week on Wednesday and Friday. I always do one client a day, so I have my focus. I can give them all my attention, all my energy, make sure I don't overshoot, that I have just everything basically straight out of the camera, and post processing is really easy.
Hmm.
And so we spend around 10 to 12 hours on a newborn client from A to Z, from picking up the phone to delivering their orders and everything in between, like the session and the ordering appointment.
Hmm.
And the other hours I spend on coaching people one-on-one.
Hmm.
So I have a 3-month program where people can be coached by me every other week. It's really intense, but it's really rebuilding or revamping, like rebranding your entire photography concept so it can finally make you money.
Hmm.
Because in the Netherlands, Belgium as well, the people that I know of that I talked in front of an audience for, they pretty much, most of them, especially those who work part-time jobs still, they have an expensive hobby. I used to call my business a small business until I started making money. You know what I'm talking about? When
Hmm.
you just are happy with clients, you don't have any turnover per session. And most photographers that I start coaching have an expensive hobby. It's not making them money, it's making them peanuts, it's costing them too many hours, they are over delivering.
Hmm.
So I teach them a system to really go within, think about what makes you happy as a photographer, and build your business around that. So you attract the people that really get you and that really excite you and get really happy with your stuff. So for
Hmm.
me, one-on-ones are really, yeah, I love to see the photographers get confident, finally start making money with their photography. The most common objection is, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a creative, I like to hide behind my camera. And I always say, just take a look at your relationship with money, with your conceptions about money. It's got a lot to do with self-confidence. Do you think you're worth owning money? Do you think as an artist you're worth being paid? that's the stuff I really love to dig in. And when they flip that switch, they just go for it, laser focus. They build up business. And I also have a 3-month, 6-month program, which is called Studio Sessions, and that's a group program. So that's online. This is the 3rd year that it's running now, and it's basically everything that I learned, everything that I did wrong, everything that I can help people with, basically everything that comes along in your photography business, because it's not just taking the picture and pressing that button. It's mainly running a business and taking some pictures. So yeah, that's the stuff that I do, and I really like that. And I also have an academy I opened up since June last year. So that's basically a bite-sized formula for people to get some trainings in from guest trainers and from me, to do like small strategic trainings on how to do giveaway sessions, or rebrand, or really improve your SEO, stuff like that photographers are always struggling with, in my opinion. I don't know how that is in America.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that I'm able to do this and work with the photographers in Europe and around the world. I do have some international clients, because there are so many American programs for photographers. Like Creative Life offers so many programs. We all know Sue Bryce, we all know the photographers that run that business model that is really American, with American rates. And it tends to be a bit more down to earth, a bit lower. Not that we have a low segment when you are a photographer, but it's more about charging European rates, not the American rates. They are really out of proportion. I think it has to do with American living standards, that everything is just more expensive there. So a photographer is more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started, I used to make around 100 euros, 150 per client. And we now have orders that go up to 20,000. So it's not that we aren't able to charge a lot, but when you start out, it can be daunting to just have those American programs and American courses and think, I have to charge like 3,000 to 4,000 for each client, which in Holland can be, really challenging to find people who will pay that. But once you grow into sales, you will get your niche, you will improve what you're doing. And that's usually when people tend to get the nerves to raise their rates, and just every year or something go up, and you see them grow. So yeah, I do a lot. I do photography, one-to-ones, group program, and the membership side, which keeps me going. Yeah, I really love it.
That's cool, because to learn photography, back then it was really popular to go to college 4 years. You learn the very basics and a lot of the things that you don't even need, and it's very impersonal. But with your style, you get to really just be one-on-one with somebody and teach them everything that they need to know, just straight to the point, and instead of like wasting time, and just make money right away. So that's really cool what you're doing and sharing that. And you said it's a lot inexpensive in the Netherlands than America. So a person that's in America, if they want to save some money, they could actually go to you in Netherlands and be like, there's a big price cap. So that's cool that you can do that.
That's cool. And I even love the results that people get when they are in photography for a longer time. So I coach this female photographer. She's a documentary photographer, and she does day in the life photo sessions at people's homes. And she has been in business for over 10 years. And this year, during the pandemic, she made an income for the first time in 10 years, which was like shocking to me. Like, wow, how is this possible? So I don't know about the American market. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, for example, where I talk to photographers who struggle with finding their price rate. But I also feel there's an overall vibe of photographers who feel like they have to struggle, who have to, put up with complaining clients, and they don't have the nerve to step up to their price range to attract the people that they want to work with, you know? So there's a lot of mindset stuff that coaches can still work on for the photography industry to grow and thrive. And I think there's a lot of work still out there.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a lot of
Yeah.
work out there. So like, um, how is marketing over there in the Netherlands compared to like out here in the United States? Is it the same style? Are you guys using Google ads? Are you guys using Yelp or anything like that? How do you guys market yourself out there or advertise yourself out there?
Well, we do have a lot of similar stuff. So we have the Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads. I teach photographers also how to get leads on autopilot through Pinterest, for example, which is not social media, but it's like a mixture of Google and Instagram having a baby, and you can just find stuff through searching pictures. Um, and yeah, what I teach is a lot about organic lead generation. It doesn't have to cost any money. If you're really smart, you can just build your spider web of contact points where people can find you. And you just need a few funnels and yeah, you can start basically. But yeah, there is a lot of work that you can do. For example, when you're in weddings, we have websites for wedding photographers that people can Google on, and they rank really well. And I think every country has a similar system of people signing up to like an organization. We have the DUFO, which is the professional organization for photographers. They have a database. So pretty much being online is what helps photographers right now. I do, however, maybe I'm a bit old school, but I also love having printed collateral and having like actual network partners, like local stores, local. I work with doulas and hypnobirthing therapists, for example, and they hand out my printed brochures. I have my artwork up on there and albums for people to flip through while they're in the waiting room. That
Mm.
also works really well. And you can do so much for free if you just exchange services. So I promote them by adding flyers to my welcome kit. They give out gift certificates for, like order credit for people when they book a session with me. And you can do a lot of like smart stuff that has to do with marketing that is not digital, and that also works really, really well. But that might have to do with the fact that we're such a small country. I don't know. But when you know people, stuff can just, you never know how stuff happens. You never know who gets to hear from you. And what
Mm.
also works really well is when you do provide like products like wall art, albums, and your clients are so proud that they are showing the album, for example, to everyone who comes to visit their new baby. They just talk about you. Where did you get these pictures taken? Oh, I went there. Oh, that's amazing. I want pictures too. So I have a lot of people who come through word to mouth, like we're friends of those, and we went there and we saw that album. So marketing is all organic,
Mm.
and I don't do any ads because I still have over 50,000 flyers and brochures in my cupboard. But if I would do ads right now, I would be too busy. So everyone who comes in right now comes through someone else. And we mainly made sure that the SEO from the website is also on point. Just Google newborn photographer in this region and you will see me coming up first. Um, Making sure that your website is just filled to the brim with keywords, search terms. You know, there's a lot of stuff you have to think about, right, when you're a photographer. But once you've set it up correctly, it pretty much serves your business, and people will find you on autopilot. That's what I tend to find, and that's what I teach my clients when I coach them.
I still agree with you on that one. We could have all this new technology, but that method of marketing, I think, is still the strongest and still the best. Well, Yvonne, this 20-minute went way too quick.
I
But
know.
I definitely enjoyed talking to you.
Me
Thank you so
too. Thank you
much
so
for
much.
that. So I'm gonna hit you up later on to get all your information so I could put it into a package to send it out. So, Yvonne, thank you so much for our conversation, and I hope to
Yeah,
talk to you another
it
time.
was amazing talking to you. And I love that technology allows us to connect wherever we are on this planet. So feel
Yeah.
free to ask me anything. We have tons of free stuff for photographers who want to start with coaching. So let me know what you would like to feature with the video that comes out. And when does it come out, by the way?
Well, it's gonna be in a couple of weeks. So after I get all the videos together, then I'm gonna make a package and I'll send it to all the photographers, and it'll be very soon. So I'll let you
Oh,
know.
it's so amazing. I really enjoyed talking to you, and thank you so much for thinking about me to do this. I felt very honored to be part of this amazing concept. So yeah, looking forward to hearing from you, Myong.
All right, Yvonne, my pleasure. I will talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Have a nice
Bye.
weekend.